Over to my colleague, Jennifer Frack. I think we're going to hold the microphone from now on. Well, our next speaker needs no introduction for everybody who watched Gasland, the movie. All the way from Pavilion, Wyoming, I would like to introduce Mr. John Fenton.
Hello. I appreciate everybody coming out today, as hot as it is. And this really couldn't be any better sight. This is exactly what we need to start taking back our country, our environment, and our future. We seem to have a whole group of people that work behind us that have forgotten who they represent and what their jobs are. And it's time that we, as people, remind them of that. Now, whether you come from a part of the country like I do, where we've already suffered the horrible impacts of this industry running amok, or you're in New York or Australia or the other places that may be looking down the barrel of these guns, we've all got some real common things that we can draw on. We all need water to drink, we all need clean air to breathe, and we all need to leave a future that our children and grandchildren and future generations can have a healthy environment and raise their families in. So the thing I'd like to say today, and the thing I want to get across that's most important, is that this can be a difficult process. It's hard to stand up and tell your story sometimes. It can be intimidating, but you're not alone. People like you and people like myself are the ones that need to do this. Whether you're going to run for office against some bum that's not doing his job, whether you're going to come to a rally like this, whether you're going to tell your story, whether you're going to sign a petition, you can make a difference. If you're struggling with this, if you're having a hard time, if you don't know where to turn, there's people out there who've been doing this like myself and people a lot longer than me, and we've got our hands out and we're willing to help you, and we're in turn going to get your help. So the most important thing we can do is to continue to work together, and I'll be proud to march with you this afternoon and show them that we're dead serious about this. I now have probably what I consider the best honor of the day, is in introducing a very good friend of mine and everyone's, Josh Fox. The future governor of Wyoming, John Fenton. If anybody's thirsty, I brought some water from Pennsylvania for you. Now, I just want to start off by asking, how many of you have been to a frack site? Okay, you all have now. You all have now. Because this is the biggest frack site in the country. You know, I've had the honor of being able to be one of the documentarians taking a look at what's happening throughout the world, documenting people struggling, being contaminated by fracking and gas drilling all across the country. And I've been investigating this, as you know, hopefully. But I think I solved the case. You know, if you look over there, right behind us, it's the Washington Monument. It looks a little bit like a drill rig. And I think in the middle of the night, when no one was paying attention, Aubrey McClendon and T. Boone Pickens, they somehow got a drill rig up inside of that Washington Monument.
and they drilled a well. And they have a horizontal well bore snaking all the way up underneath that building over there. And they're injecting not carcinogenic chemicals, not neurotoxins, not volatile organic compounds, but money and cash. A lot of money. Now, if you want to outbid them, if anybody here has got a spare $747 million, which is the amount of money that they spent getting the exemption to one law, just one, $750 million for the exemption to the Safe Drinking Water Act, so that no one can find out what they injected into this stuff over here. If you've got a spare $747 billion, $1 million, let's not exaggerate, then maybe you can start to buy back our government. My guess is you probably don't. I don't. But what you do have is something that's worth a lot more than money. You have your bodies, you have your minds, and you have your hearts. Because what's happening here is the House of Representatives is getting fractured from underneath. The Senate is getting an earthquake of money coming up through the chamber and blowing the top off of that building and blowing the top off of our democracy. I want to tell you something from a good friend of mine in Arkansas. And if you think things are bad in PA, and they are bad in PA, and they're bad in Texas, they're really bad down in Arkansas. But I met a guy down there named James Weaver. His land had been contaminated by toxic spills off of a well pad into his this multi-layered pond system that he had built. And his artesian spring had been contaminated as well. And he never said the word America. He only said our America, my America, your America. He said to me, you got to stand up for your America. Who's going to fight for our America if it's not us? I like that. It's our America, right? It doesn't belong to the oil and gas industry. And he said to me, never look at the size of the enemy. You lose. You want to win, you got to think win. Never look at the size of the enemy. Because we can do this. We can do this. The amazing thing, the amazing thing about this problem is, there's a solution. It's not one of those things where there's just like, oh, no solution. We know we can run the world on renewable energy. We know we can run the world on the wind, and today we have a reminder that we can run the world on the sun. In just 3 states, North Dakota, Kansas, and Texas, we have more wind resource than we need for all of our power uses in the United States. Just one resource, one out of the many renewable energies that are here now. We don't need a bridge to nowhere. We have the technology now. We can do this now. We can win. And we can solve the problem. And in the process, we can change the world. That's what's required. There have been a lot of people who come to Washington, D.C., right, talked about changing the world. But we know, and many of the speakers that are going to come up after me, and in many rallies going forward, and as you know, we have a big rally coming up in New York, August 25th through the 27th. I want to see you all there. Simultaneous rallies in New York City and in Albany. And in September, we have shale gas outrage in Philadelphia. We were in Ohio last month. We're going to keep touring the capitals. We're going to keep touring the cities. We're looking for candidates for October. Maybe Maryland. I don't know. We'll have a contest. But what we need to do is take back our power in the form of renewable energy and take back our power in the democracy. We need to take back our power, and we need to take back our power because we need to take back our America. And we are the people, because I will not be fractured. My heart will not be fractured. My conscience will not be fractured. And if you have a congressman or a senator that is coming apart at the seams because he's been injected with or she has been injected with too many campaign dollars from the oil and gas industry. You have to get those fractured representatives out of our government and start to restore unity and start to restore the things that we fought for, that our forefathers fought for, that people are fighting for all over the world. Democracy and justice. I want to thank you so much for being out here on this 2 solar-powered day. I'm very humbled to be a part of this, and I'm going to keep fighting, and I thank you very, very much.
So we're going to take a quick little musical interlude break, and people can get up and do a little bit of dancing. The band that is playing today is named Mob Stick, and this is a band that is made... Stick Mob! Okay, wrote it down. They're not Stink Bomb, and they're not Mob Stick, they're Stick Mob. And these guys are clean energy. This is a mic.